What I'm going to be talking to you tonight about is based on life experiences. As Anna introduced tonight's talk as the 3 pillars of freedom. So we quite all clearly know that there's more to it than just money, don't we?
Yep.
Okay. So what else is there to know then? This is what Anna mentioned earlier. We want everybody to be interactive. What else is there to know?
Love.
Yes, my favorite subject. I can talk all night about love. Anything else?
Happiness.
Yes, thank you. What else?
Connection.
Yes, what else?
Gratitude.
Yes. The list can go on and on. But as we grow up, we find that we need different needs in life. And for me, it was freedom. Okay? Can anybody connect to that word?
Yes.
Who wants freedom? Okay, yay. Okay, so I want to be free. Life is tough, relentless. Wanting to let go of our responsibility is a natural human response. I want to give up. This is not what I signed up for. I want to move to an island and just get away from people. How many of you have that thought? It's all as it gets rolling, Q&A. Right? Okay, what does it mean to be free? What does it mean to be free to you?
Being able to live the life I want to live.
Okay. Anyone else?
To be totally realized as who I am.
Namaste. Anyone else?
To do what I want to do.
Good. Well, for me, it means living from my soul, living from my true, authentic life, being honest with myself, loving myself through the good, the bad, and the ugly, loving every pain, anger, and resentment that I've ever experienced in my whole entire life. Being free for me is what I think and what I do matches my beliefs and my values, and most importantly, is about being myself, not what society dictates. I discovered being free requires 2 ingredients. First, getting in touch with yourself. Establish what is your truth and what is important enough for you. The second ingredient is having enough courage and strength to make life choices based upon that knowledge. My life is my message here tonight. Tonight, I have been given the honor to share the story of a woman I used to know, her journey and transformation to freedom. I was born on Tuesday, March 1st, 1966. Entering the world at 3 a.m., I was held in the arms of my angels while the doctors tried to revive me. I was a stillborn child. The doctors administered a shot of adrenaline and supplied me with oxygen. A few moments later, I took my first breath. And that's where my journey began. I was raised by an Italian family. My parents were Italian and very strong Catholics. They raised me with rules, control, discipline, and they strongly believed in the fear of God. I grew older. As I grew older, there was a voice inside me that did not want to conform to this insanity. I would retreat to my room and my guardian angels would appear. I believed they were falling stars from the ceiling, so I looked forward every night retrieving into my room and waited patiently sitting on the floor for these stars to fall down from the sky. I was about 2 years old then. I quickly learned to communicate with them, and I realized that there was another world to be discovered and to learn from. Our conversations involved a trust of friendship. They talked to me when I was lonely, played with me when I was sad, and most importantly, they educated me about God. I was happy when they visited me using my childhood rationale. I had discovered my new best friends. As I grew up, I discovered my concept of normal was very different from other people. I hid my abilities from everyone out of fear of being judged and rejected. This fear lasted for many, many years. I decided to keep the communication and the social aspect with my angels a secret. At the age of 35, my life turned upside down, chaos through and through, a brutal divorce after 17 years of marriage. I want you to understand that my first marriage was based on the foundation on control, physical and mental abuse. I no longer felt safe in that marriage, and I felt unloved. When I made the decision to leave, I lost everything, including my children and my parents, my brother, and everyone close to me, including friends, family, myself, identity. So I thought at the time. I abandoned my abilities to communicate with my angels and found justice in blaming God for every bad situation that happened in my life. My daily mantra then was, I don't want to live like this anymore. And I repeated that day after day after day, hour after hour after hour. At the age of 37, in front of a mirror, I stood in front of my mirror, and for the life of me, I stood there for about 4 minutes, but it felt like a lifetime. And I'm looking at her, and I did not know who was staring back at me. How does someone get to this state? How does someone get to this state? Someone that has lost herself to be accepted in the world, to not be judged in the world, to make sure she's safe in the world. So instead of taking care of her own, she takes care of everyone else but herself. And there she is standing, and no one is taking care of her. So the whole reality about freedom for me was to learn to take care of myself without being ridiculed by all the people around me. So they named an award after me. After all that, they called me the people pleaser. I was there for everyone, and the truth is that no one was there for me. Where did that transition happen for me? I believed I had nothing. I was worth nothing. I contemplated suicide. I actually did, where one night I actually drove my car up to a cliff and contemplated to drive through the cliff. But before I did, I made sure that I stepped out of the car and looked down at that cliff, and I wanted to make sure that that fall would actually kill me. I didn't want to come out any other way. I didn't have anyone else, I thought at the time, that could take care of me. I came out of the car, I stood on the peak of that hill. And for a second, it felt like a second, it was so quickly, I just noticed the beauty that surrounded me. There was an incredible amount of energy that I did not recognize, but I knew it was moving me in a different direction. Not only did the energy capture me, but also the voice behind me, feeling the embrace of love around me, saying, enough. This is not who you are. I didn't have any doubt to that, and I just fell to my knees in regret and embarrassment and complete humiliation that I would ever think that I would stand on a cliff, try to take my own life. Because I was a coward. I didn't know where to begin. I didn't know what to do. I was able to take care of everybody else, but not myself. So my life from that moment on changed. I returned to God. Where did I start after that? Well, I took responsibility for myself. And I want you to know that that's what it's all about. You need to take responsibility for yourself. Whether it's financial, whether it's about your body, whether it's about your mind, whether it's about your spirit, you're the only one that can do that. No one else will save you. And if you are waiting for someone else to save you, I have news for you. No one even cares. No one even cares. So I started to do a lot of self-reflection, a lot of accepting of my past, a lot of forgiving of the past, and I started to build my faith again. One thought that always kept me sane throughout this whole journey was, well, you know what? God put me here, and He will see me through it. If He can keep the world revolving, He can surely keep me on a straight and narrow path. So here we are, pillar number 1, the body. It's one of my favorite things to talk about because I certainly have had a big journey with the body. It was the most incredible thing for me to start because it was something I could see. So when we see things, we can actually change them because we can actually see them. So I was born overweight, to be honest with you, and I was overweight throughout my childhood, adolescent, and young woman. So I tipped the scales at 220 pounds when my son Rudy was born. He's my eldest son, who is now 22 years old. And I thought, you know, this is the naive part of it all. When the baby comes out, so will the weight. Okay? But also I remember now that I gave myself such validation to eat when I became pregnant with Rudy because the 27 years before that, I actually starved. So I was always thinking about food day in and day out. So what happened was, well, Rudy, you know, I was carrying Rudy, so therefore, hey, I'm eating for 2. And I started to look that way. After he was born, like I said, I landed at 220 pounds, so it was 100 pounds total weight gain. So I get home with my child and it hits me like a ton of bricks. Now what? So I decided to try everything in the book to lose the weight. But the most insane thing that I pulled was to drop down to 640 calories a day. Any of you interested about what 640 calories consists of? No? No? 2 chicken breasts, 4 carrot sticks, and 2 apples. We kept this up for 2 years. Boy, I look good though. Okay? Rocking that body with gray skin, losing hair, and cracked nails. Very attractive. It started to get to the point where people would stop me on the street and say to me, "Do you have cancer?" I dropped that weight so low, it was scary. 2 years past that way, I was still rocking it. I still had a small figure, and I ended up getting pregnant with my second son, Michael. Wow. Starving for 2 years, I had a lot of catching up to do with food. So, when Michael was born, I landed at 260 pounds this time. Did I learn my lesson? Clearly not. So at 260 pounds, I come home with now 2 children later, 260 pounds. What does Tina do? We start all over again in the 640 calorie diet until I reach the weight. But I must tell you that before I did, I developed this wonderful relationship with my scale. I was not addicted to my scale, it was a committed relationship. I saw her twice a day. I would have breakfast, I would weigh myself. I would have lunch and I would weigh myself, I would have dinner and I would do the same thing. It was like an addiction, it was calling me. And every time I stepped on her, she would say to me, "Sorry, you're at the same weight, I'll see you later." And this went on for a couple of weeks, but what was happening was I would be starving and then I would be eating again. And I expected the scale to lie as well as I was lying to myself. The scale did not know that I was reaching into the pantry in the middle of the night, eating a whole box of Oreo cookies and 2 liters of milk. Yes, I was a closet eater. And I lied to that fact because I expected the scale to tell me the truth and say, "No, you're getting thinner. Believe me, you keep eating those cookies." So I decided to get rid of the scale and buy a state-of-the-art one, Miss Digital. Well, go figure. She started lying to me too. She would say the same thing over and over to me. "Sorry, you're at the same weight. I'll see you later." I just remember all the beatings I used to give myself when the weight did not drop. I replaced the scale many, many times. I probably have owned 25 scales in my life. But all that while that I was overeating, there was a childlike inside me that she'd whisper in my ear, "Love me," as I reached for the Oreo cookies. I did not hear her because I did not know there was a hidden message within the addiction, because no one had alerted me to this simple fact. I played the weight loss game to distract me as an attempt to control the unpleasant feelings caused by my disconnection to myself. To address food behavior, I had to look past and inquire why I was doing it, deciding to commit and devote to my life and myself. I started to obtain knowledge to heal my body. Yes, it was hard, but for me, it was harder to stay idle and play the game over and over again. It has been 19 years now, and it has been my honor to honor my temple. It has been given to me by God to fulfill this lifetime. Any questions? Pillar number 2, the mind. So now we're looking thin, we're looking great, but yet we're still having thoughts like, I'm not good enough. Clearly here I still had a lot of work to do. I need to change the world. That was my thing. I changed my body, I'm going to change the world. And then everything will be perfect in my life. I discovered that changing the world is like trying to change a movie by manipulating the movie screen. I got tired. Nothing was getting fixed until I changed my thoughts. The movie stays the same, and so does the story. What you think, you become. Positivity attracts positive, negative attracts negative outcomes. If you keep thinking negative thoughts, get ready for a shitstorm. No one will save you, and no one will care. We need to take responsibility to create personal change. We need to learn to recognize our reoccurring patterns, habits in our lives that no longer serve us. We need to operate by intention and not by habit. Self-acceptance, to accept oneself, is what needs to happen in order to move on. It sounds easy, right? The journey to self-love does not work without the healing power of self-acceptance. The shining light in your own mind, which allows for spontaneous inner healing and deep personal growth to take place, the power of thought, determines every aspect of your life, whether it's good or whether it's bad. You are in complete control of what your world is like every moment of the day. Addressing painful situations, releasing emotions from your body is the key to healing your life. Research shows that we have 80,000 thoughts a day that are the same thoughts of yesterday. The first step that we're going to take and to stop the insanity is to be aware. So to be aware is basically waking up to our thoughts, inquire about those thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Second is a choice. Consciously choose the thoughts that you're thinking. Change. Altering your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Make decision. Make the right decision. This is where the rubber meets the mat. When you put into practice the choices you make, transforming your thoughts and feelings about yourself, embody positive self-esteem and confidence, your life will start to change. I am living proof. Remember the following. 1, be awake to your feelings. They are a gift from God to know where you're standing in your life. Number 2, identify your thoughts that result in low self-esteem. Why do you keep telling yourself you're not good enough? Why do you keep telling yourself you're not beautiful enough? Why do you keep telling yourself you're not worthy? So you need to get down and dirty on those feelings. And just sweeping them under the carpets is not enough. You have to do inquiry. I want to share with you this beautiful author that I was actually introduced to by my husband and best friend Roy, who's sitting in the audience like I mentioned earlier. And she has this technique called the work. So she basically works on analyzing your thoughts. And for me, I would like to say she saved my life, and I will go back to that statement in a little while. The way it works is, let's say I have a thought, I am ugly, right? So the next question she will ask is it true? And there is no shaded area in the answer. It's basically a yes or a no. Okay, so before you answer yes or no, you will sit still. Is it true that you're ugly? Yes or no? No. The reality is you're not. You're not ugly. So by having the thoughts of feeling ugly, how does that make you feel? How does it make you feel when you think you're ugly? Anyone answer. Yeah, what else? Yeah. And where would you be without that thought? Let's say you didn't have that thought, I was ugly. You had the thought, I was beautiful. I am beautiful because I am. What would follow that? Happiness. And what else would follow that? Abundance. And what else would follow that? People to match that vibration. If your vibration is low, your self-esteem is low, you will attract that in your life. It's 100% true. Your attitude is important. Your attitude represents who you are before you even start to speak. You carry it before you even enter the room. So you need then, we all need to then identify our thoughts and resolve and make sure that our self-esteem is not bruised every single day. And please be careful how you talk to yourself every day, because you are listening. Everything you say, negative and positively, is deposited in your subconscious. Your subconscious responsibility is to show you what you hold in mind. Okay? Okay, now pillar number 3, the spirit. Now, I rewrote this part 100 times over since Anne and I discussed about me presenting the pillars of freedom. And to be honest with you, I rewrote it today at lunchtime because I needed to talk from my heart at this point, because I need to take someone else into the conversation. 4 years ago, our son Michael started his journey with drugs. He started playing with marijuana, and it became much more than that as he grew older. We lost Michael to his drug addiction March 11th, 2015. But I'm not here to talk about the grief of my son. I'm here to talk about the love of my son. Because Michael, to say the least, has been one of my greatest teachers from the moment he was born. I often refer to him as a cherub because he was very angelic in his personality and his behavior. But as he got, his own personal demons to deal with, he found a way out through drug addiction. Before passing away, when I say the Byron Katie or the specific work saved my life, is because a mother knows that something is wrong. It was last November where I turned to my husband and said, we are going to lose Michael. I felt it. But also, I want to say that Michael also prepared me. He challenged my love for him. He pushed me to the limits. He made me look at my life differently. I had to forgive myself at so many levels, and he was still alive. And his number one thing, he was just a young man, and his whole thing was always about freedom. That was his favorite word. And as I looked deeper in his numerology the other day, he's a number 5, and this stands for freedom. So I'm here today because through the suffering of losing the love of my life, I also found my life. In the words of my son Michael, Mom, I found the light, and so did you. I simply have. So through the grief, I have found who I really am. Because at some point in our lives, something tragic has to happen. Now, none of this has to happen to any of you, God forbid. This is something that no one can connect to. I can't even connect to it. Some days I don't. I can't. I don't have the capabilities. However, when Michael was going through this tragedy, Michael's responsibility was to push me back into the arms of God. And 3 days before Michael passed away, he was very, very bad. I have no words to where my son's state was at the time, but I retrieved back into my office and I fell to my knees and I said, listen, you and I need to talk, and I was referring to God. We need to negotiate. I'll do whatever you want, but please give my son back to me, whole and sane and normal, just like a normal 18-year-old should be. And I did trust those words. I did trust God. I had to. For everything, a single thing that happened in my life, I have nothing else. And at that moment, I simply, and I still do believe, that this journey, or our journeys, are only ours to walk alone. You cannot judge where other people stand in their spirituality, in their beliefs, in their actions, in their thoughts. First of all, it's none of your business where people are. Okay? What we can do as human beings, as a collective consciousness here tonight, is to give love, to be love, and to have compassion and kindness. A lot of my clients say to me, Tina, what's my life purpose? I can only say one thing. Love yourself and love others as God loves you. That's all you need to do. And everything else would be looked after. So after that long prayer back in my office, I could breathe a little better, and I was sitting on a time bomb. Something inside me said, wait for the call. Roy and I received the call early Tuesday morning. Michael was in a coma at Queensway Hospital. So we rushed to the hospital. He was on every single machine that you can think of. He was kept alive on machine, but he was dead already. And how did I know that? Because my son appeared to me when I was getting ready to go to the hospital. He knew so much that the smell of marijuana annoyed me to death, that when I was putting on my coat to go to the hospital, there was this distinctive smell of marijuana around me, and that's all I could do was yell at my husband and say, what is going on in this house? Our kids have lost their minds, they're smoking marijuana. And I recall you, Roy, saying to me, there's no one else in the house but you and me. My son was trying to get my attention. I'm telepathic, and I've been communicating with the other side for many years. And I kept that also a secret. He says, Mom, I'm dead. I'm here with you. Don't be scared. Well, what do you do with that? As I kept driving to the hospital, he sat beside me as I'm driving. I had to roll down every single window that car had to get the smell out. He just kept on insisting. But also I found a sense of peace. Somehow inside me, I knew I was prepared for this. And I went back to the prayer. I asked God, bring him back to me, whole. And he did. And I'm also ever so grateful that I have been given this opportunity in this lifetime to continue this eternal relationship with my son. It has been, for the last 8 months, a complete revolution and transformation in my life. So when I said to you earlier, when I looked in the mirror and I thought, who are you? I have the same question for myself this morning. Who are you? Because all of a sudden, everything shifted. Different priorities in my life. I'm number one priority. I was forced, I was summoned by death of my son to start loving myself more, to forgive myself more. Maybe I should have loved him more. Maybe I should have hugged him more. Maybe I should have taken him in when he was really bad instead of kicking him out. I should have, I could have. But I realized today through the faith of God that everything happens for a reason, and it's divine timing how things happen. So I've stopped beating myself up and I've started living my life with my son. The life that has been waiting for me all along. It is my sole contract to fulfill this destiny with him in love and faith. So him and I, Michael and I, have started our communications, and I've started a blog where Michael communicates different things to me as we talk, and we also talk about grief. And it has been a very healing journey for me, and I'm very excited, and I am celebrating the fact that I'm excited what my life will bring next. So I would like just to conclude tonight with a few things that I've written down that you just keep under your hat somewhere. It might serve you not tonight, but it could serve you another time. When a spiritual awakening is taking place, the journey is an individual one. It is time to open your heart and mind. Be still. There is so much to be revealed. You will journey through your life and see the world through different eyes. It is a time to share your discoveries and learn from others. To respect those whose time is not to travel this road. Don't let fear hold you back. There is no turning back. It is time to leave the old behind and experience the new. Allow the mystery to unfold. Through the toughest lessons we grow. Pray that your actions are guided and your journey to the road for the greater good. The lessons learned are meaningful, loving, gentle, and positive. Allow the energy to carry you. Your life is an adventure. Take the risk. Allow yourself the time to explore within and without. Discover yourself. Be the loving spiritual light being that you are and shine. You will be drawn in many directions. Flow with the energy at the time. Pursue whatever takes your interest. There are many opportunities to explore. Most of all, enjoy the learning experience and grow. Ride the colorful rainbow of life. The totality of possibilities connects everything, including our universe and beyond. What I know for sure is have faith. God has a plan for you, bigger and better than what you've ever imagined. No matter what insane madness we fall into, God always delivers the love and the peace that lies beyond. This is time for new beginnings. Don't let fear hold you back. Trust your instincts better than ever. Go with the flow. Have faith and trust the forces that you drive. New opportunities will present themselves. Don't listen to those voices that habitually hold you back. The unknown may be a little bit scary, but at the same time, it offers exciting challenges that unfold and lead you to other new, exciting opportunities. Take your time to explore your way through life. Stay open to the challenges that present themselves. Most importantly, learn from your experiences. Follow your heart and go for it. From my heart to yours, thank you for listening. Namaste. It has been an honor to share with you. Thank you once again for listening, and if any of you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them. Thank you.